Hello, this is a course on renewable sources of energy or non-conventional sources of energy. But for us to get a good sense of what are these non-conventional sources of energy and how much of an impact they are making to our existence, what is the potential that they have for making an impact and so on. It is a good idea to get a sense of conventional sources of energy. To see what it is that we are calling as conventional sources of energy, and how prevalent are they, to what degree are we impacted in our lives because of these sources of energy, and then use that, and also in that context see what are these non-conventional sources of energy doing as of today, and perhaps get a better sense of what is the expectation on these sources of energy as we go forward. So, as you can see, today's class is on conventional sources of energy. So, that is basically what we will focus on. So, our learning objectives for this class are first of all to become familiar with the prevalence of conventional sources of energy, which means I would like you to get a sense for how much we are depending on these sources of energy, and how common they are, and also what are these sources. So, that is the idea in when I say that I would like you to become familiar with the prevalence of conventional sources of energy. And the second aspect that I would like you to look at as we go through the content of this class is to also become familiar with aspects associated with the use of the conventional sources of energy. So, there is always a lot of talk about them, and quite possibly you have read several articles about say global warming or many other aspects associated with it. But I would like to take this occasion to formally put across some ideas, some points, some information that exists on these sources of energy, and which indicate the aspects associated with this use of these conventional sources of energy and their existence in our commonplace activities that we participate in. So, these two would then be our learning objectives. We will as we go over this content, we will I will try to emphasize these points as we look at these at the content of this class. So, to begin with, I have put together here a little bit of a timeline, and I think it is very interesting to see this timeline for a variety of reasons, because again as we talk of conventional sources of energy, I think this timeline will convey to you what is that time frame that we are talking of, over which these conventional sources of energy have become a very major part of our existence. Okay. So, this the information that I will discuss on the slide sort of focuses on that time frame that we are discussing, we are focusing on, right. So, it may seem like a very large collection of things, but I think it puts things in perspective, and that is the reason why I wanted to put together this slide in this manner, and so I will go over it in that sense. So, if you see here, of course, as you as you perhaps are aware, the age of the earth is a huge time frame relative to our lifetimes. So, it is about 4.5 billion years old. So, that is how old the planet is on which we exist as of today. If you come a little more recent than that, about 3.8 billion years ago, that is when life first began to appear on earth. Of course, 3.8 billion years ago, we were just, if you look back at the in evolution of life, as best as we are aware, at that point in time, we just had single celled organisms just beginning to appear in on the planet, and that is considered the starting point of life on the planet as we know it. So, that is how things have evolved in our planet. If you come much more recent than that, we come to 500 million years ago, and that is when plants and animals begin to appear. So, based on whatever records are available, based on how scientists have been able to extrapolate, it is about 500 million years ago that plants and animals began to appear on the planet, and so that is again a significantly long period of time. If you come closer than that, 200 million years ago is when mammals began to appear on the planet. Of course, we are mammals, and mammals are ancestral mammals appeared about 200 million years ago. Around the same time that the dinosaurs were also present on the planet. So, around 200 to 250 million years ago is when it is estimated that dinosaurs appeared on the planet. Okay, so that is how long ago they came and began to exist on the planet. Again, if you historically there has been great fascination with dinosaurs and the fact that they existed on the planet and the fact that they disappeared from the planet. In fact, there is a lot of scientific evidence to say that the I mean modern day birds are actually quite intricately linked to the dinosaurs at some fundamental level. So, presumably there is at least one school of thought that says that in a sense you should not say that dinosaurs have completely gone extinct. So, that is perhaps not the correct way to say it, but in any case the general thought process is that what we today consider as dinosaurs or commonplace perception of what is a dinosaur, those dinosaurs all went extinct about 60 million years ago. So, I think this number is actually, even though dinosaurs is a completely different topic, the 60 million years ago is something that is of interest. You should just keep it in mind. We will sort of come back to this kind of a time frame in a little bit, but this time frame is something of interest to keep in mind. And 200,000 years ago is when Homo sapiens, which is our ancestors as human beings, our ancestors first began to appear on the planet. So, what we consider our kind of people are these people appeared on the planet around 200,000 years ago as a part of the evolution process that occurred. So, we trace ourselves back that far. So, this is all ancient history, this is all in fact even prehistory, this is prehistoric stuff. We have no records of these. We are able to look these up through various artifacts that we find deep inside in remote places on earth. We find artifacts which help us figure out that all these events happened so many hundreds of thousands of years ago, so many millions of years ago, so many hundreds of millions of years ago. So, this is how it has happened. Much more recently, as we come towards what we consider historic and where we have historic documents indicating what has been going on our planet, which is only I would say maybe less than 2000 years of existence or of that order. We have some records of differing levels of degree of what humans were doing, where they were doing, and what is it was the end result of that activity. Of course, in all these cases, one general concept you have to keep in mind is that we tend to look at history based on the records that somebody wrote. So, we do not know all their motivations, we do not know under what circumstances they wrote those documents, etc. But as a collection of documents written by several people across that time frame, we get a sense of what was going on at that point in time. So, if you look back in 347 CE or AD, the common era or current era as it is called these days, or AD as it used to be called not too long ago, we find that there are records for the earliest known oil wells. Okay, so, oil wells began to appear into our records around 350 CE. Oil of different kinds or some product of oil actually historically seems to have been used at in different ways, even little quite a bit earlier than this, but really as an oil well that was actually trying to extract oil from the ground, it seems to have appeared around 350 CE in China. Even there they had they used to be, they were sort of hand dug wells, so to speak, and they were considered, I mean, by today's view of today's technology and the way we go about drilling for oil these days, these are considered primitive wells, which is to be expected. I mean, it is such a long time ago and they did not have any technology at that point in time relative to what we have today. So, these kinds of wells are considered to be primitive wells, but there are records of such wells having been around, and a lot of different locations in the world they were able to find oil at fairly shallow levels of depth by just simply digging with hands and hand held implements and so on. So, after about this time of about 350 CE, which is when this sort of little bit of a primitive oil well was put together, people have been extracting in this primitive sense at various locations. Oil has been extracted internationally and used for a variety of different applications, including some were used for making roads, sort of the way we use these tar roads these days. You should also understand that at that point in fact they did not have a good understanding, or they were not even aware that you could do some refining of this oil and then you could get it to separate into various fractions, etc. So, often in those days when they looked at crude oil, they basically used whatever came off the ground. So, if it might have been in different compositions at different places, or perhaps due to some circumstances already some fraction had separated in some way, they never really had any specific control on it. They just understood that there was this stuff that they could get off the ground, and they could use it as some kind of a fuel. So, so it was being used in that context. So, that is the way it has been used historically, and so that is how it has been used since 350 CE, roughly 350 CE. If you come down to something much more recent, 1859, that is barely, that is less than 200 years ago, right. So, it is just about 150 years ago that you are looking at what is considered as the first modern oil well. Okay, first modern oil well, and it is referred to as the Drake oil well, named after the person Drake, who was instrumental in setting up this oil well. It is considered a bit modern oil well in the sense that it did not use primitive tools. They did some a serious bit of drilling to go much deeper into the earth and pick up this oil. And so there have been activities even before this, as I said, some from 350 CE to 1859. It is not like people were not doing anything. A lot of people had been exploring oil and picking it up and using it for a variety of purposes, but this was the first implementation of something more industrial, so to speak, in terms of just making a specific dig of significant depth to pick up the oil. And it most importantly it sort of sparked off this frenzy of oil wells. So, people really caught on. So, this growth of oil wells in the planet, in terms of in various countries, suddenly people caught on to this idea that there is this resource which is oil that you could get off the ground, and then you need to find the location where it is, and then you need to dig it, and there is specific specialized equipment that you can use to dig and get this oil, and then you can use it for commercial purposes. That whole idea sort of caught on ever since he put this first oil well together. And so, therefore, from the perspective of, say, the petroleum industry, this Drake oil well is a historic site. It is marked as a historic site, and it is still available to be seen as a historic site. So, it really caught on, and a lot of people started commercially drilling for oil and doing commercial activities with it. So, there was in fact a lot of craze even to locate such places where oil was available and then buy that location. So, that you buy the location, then it falls under your control, and then whatever oil is there you begin to exploit. So, a significant amount of these activities have happened in the last 150 years. In fact, it has not ended. Even today you find rather unfortunately I would say, a lot of military activity associated with control on oil. Many times you look at international negotiations that are occurring, international positioning of people, positioning of nations, the positions they take, the kind of countries they support, the kind of countries they oppose. Often the accusation on these countries is that they are actually motivated by control of oil. So, they want control over the oil, and for that they are willing to sometimes make compromises. That is sort of the unfortunate reality of geopolitics, as it is called. And my point being that has not ended with the 1859. 1859 is not very far, not long ago, it is 150 years ago. But even today, the most recent wars that have been fought on the planet have all been, many of them have been linked to control on oil. And that is the unfortunate reality of the industry associated with this production of oil. So, in any case, 1859 is the first modern oil well, and then we have had just oil wells all over the place. There are very specialized industries and companies which exclusively focus on oil production, and they set up these oil wells at various locations on the world, around the world. There is a lot of mix of politics, industrial control, companies trying to become very large based on this and so on. Of course, in the end this is all happening because we use that energy, right. So, this is all happening because of that reason. So, at some fundamental level, yes, in terms of lifestyle, existing current lifestyle, in terms of current lifestyle, these oil wells are necessary because they are supporting the production of energy, and we are using that energy. The general public is using that energy. So, at some fundamental level this seems to become necessary, and that is the reason why and so in other words I would put it this way, at some fundamental level there is demand. there is demand for this energy. There is demand for the energy, and currently that energy, when we talk of conventional sources of energy, the conventional source happens to be this oil, and therefore oil is being produced. It is being produced in large quantities. So, at some fundamental level, governments and companies which are producing oil are actually doing some service to the public, because there is demand from the public for it. Where it becomes an issue is that there are a lot of other control aspects associated with it, because often there seem to be accusations that local populations are not being treated well and so on. So, that is a different, I mean, there is a lot of, there is a lot of complex issues there, is what I wish to highlight in terms of the politics and the surrounding parameters associated with this whole production of energy. So, it is always there, it is significantly there in the background, because this touches something very fundamental to us, because everything we do, our ability to travel somewhere, our ability to get entertained, our ability to live in a comfortable environment, even though it is like very hot outside or it is very rainy outside, all those things seem to be linked with energy. In fact, we have gotten so intricately related to energy in our existence. If there is a major power shutdown, which basically means major energy shutdown, the entire cities come to a complete halt. There is nothing that almost nothing that seems to work. I mean, your telecommunications goes down, your ability to travel to any location goes down, your ability to get entertainment goes down, your ability to get information goes down. Everything goes down in a matter of hours if you have a power shutdown. And cities experience extremely difficult and very extremely difficult circumstances, and are often completely unprepared for a major power shutdown. So, if you complete any major city in the world, if it has a complete power shutdown for even 2 days, it just descends to complete chaos. I mean, the amount of chaos that that city descends to, in terms of all services that are present there, all essential services get affected almost immediately, and that is the reality today. So, energy has become a very fundamental aspect of our existence. We are no longer living in olden times where basically we just lived the day. From the time that sun came, there was sunrise, to the time that there was sunset. A lot of our ancestors basically did that. They had just a day from sunrise to sunset, and once the sun sets, does not matter when, maybe it might be maybe 6 in the evening or 7 in the evening or 8 in the evening, depending on which part of the world you are in, they would all just basically retire. Just put some set up a fire to warm themselves, watch the night sky and then retire. And that is how actually a lot of astronomy even started, because people watched the night sky because they had nothing else to do. Now it has become very different. We do not let the outside environment affect us. So, it may be extremely cold, you may have extreme winter, minus 30 degrees C with wind chill outside, and people will be living perfectly comfortable lives inside the building. Just 10 meters away from you, there is minus 30 degrees C, here you are sitting in very comfortable conditions. Or you could have the opposite condition, you could have 35 degrees C outside, approaching 40 degrees C outside, extremely hot temperatures for our human comfort levels, but you would be sitting in an air conditioned environment and perfectly well going about your job. So, we have reached a state of development where we no longer care what is going on in a natural sense outside our 4 walls. We are able to artificially control our comfort level inside a building, and all of this is directly and totally related to our ability to harness energy. This energy is used in various devices which help in our comfort of our life, and that is the way we lived our quality of life. So, if you go to any country and you ask them for what kinds of parameters that any family, any human, any other social setting, you ask them for what it is that they consider as their comfort level in their existence, what are the things that they are looking at to feel that they are having good quality of life. Invariably, most people will express, at least their initial thoughts will be along the lines of a comfortable home, comfortable environments and so on, and all of them are all intricately related to energy. So, extensive energy being used, and so in that sense our behavior is linked to this energy usage, and therefore I mean control of energy, supply of energy are all very very critical aspects at a international level. Nations can go to war based on it, nations can make treaties based on it. So, that is how serious and significant this issue is, and it has all happened in the last 150-200 years. Okay. So, we are looking at 150-200 years of oil production, usage on earth and so on, usage in our society and so on. To give you a perspective of what is going on today, if you look at the year 2017, which is just the year just that recently concluded, global oil production is nearly 100 million barrels a day. Okay. So, they use this term barrels per day. A barrel is actually 159 liters. So, that is the quantity that is used in the energy industry, oil industry. You tend to see this terminology barrels per day, and a barrel refers to about 159 liters of crude oil. So, it is sitting at around 100 million barrels a day. There are usually what happens is there is capacity to produce more, but here also there are a lot of political posturing that goes on. There is a lot of political posturing that goes on in the background. Different countries have specific reasons why they may want to increase the oil production at a certain point in time, or decrease the oil production at a certain point in time. As you know, I mean, from basic economic ideas, economic principles, if you decrease the production of some essential commodity such as oil, because it is necessary for energy, and the demand still remains whatever it is, then the prices go up. So, naturally some countries who are who have control on it actually get more profit for less oil. So, that is the thought process. At the same time, there may be other countries which feel that it is it is necessary to put out so much oil at this point in time, and they may even do some political posturing where they put in too much of oil, bring down the price of oil, and that affects other countries who are only dependent on oil as a product for making money. So, if you read recent articles on why the prices of oil keeps fluctuating in various ways, you will find interesting information, and I will touch upon that again in a little bit when we talk about price of oil. So, I think the main purpose of that I wanted to convey through this slide, which is what I would like to emphasize, is actually the fact that we are really looking at a very short period of time here, of which really only this 1859 to now, that is only 150 years. Okay. So, only 150 years of existence of this planet, we have suddenly got on to this oil thing. Okay. So, we are just totally into this oil production, consumption, and all the aspects associated with this oil economy, so to speak, is all in the last 150 years. Okay. So, that is a very small fraction of time if you look at this entire time frame that I have shown you here. Okay. In this entire time frame that has been what I think the point that you have to notice here is that if you look at the overall progression of activities on the planet, progression of life on the planet, progression of anything else on the planet, it has been extremely gradual. Okay, extremely gradual. Things that have slowly evolved. You have looked at first cells that have appeared, those cells have slowly evolved to more complex creatures, those more complex creatures have grown big, you have had plants evolve, the atmosphere on the planet has evolved very gradually over billions of years, and so on. So, all this has happened extremely gradually. The point in it happening very gradually is that it gives every aspect of the planet to accommodate for any changes, because any small change, very gradually counter forces appear and they take their time to balance things out, and slowly the evolution happens. Okay. So, that is how everything has happened on our planet for billions of years and hundreds of millions of years to billions of years. That is exactly how things have happened in our planet. What we are doing is significant usage of energy in the last 150 years, and usage of energy is by itself not an issue. I mean, if you can use whatever energy you wish, as I mean, it may be just any one of those things that we do. So, just because we have been using energy in the last 150 years, that does not automatically make that habit a bad habit. The issue is that, as we have seen in our previous class, the manner in which we use the energy and the products of that energy usage are such that they are impacting our environment very rapidly. That is the reason there is an issue there. Otherwise, there is actually no real issue in using energy. You can use whatever energy you wish, I can use whatever I can wish based on what is available. But the point is, in the short period of time that we are using this energy, the manner in which we are using that energy is dramatically changing our environment, and that dramatic change, as I said, is happening in a very short period of time. We are looking at 100 years, maybe even less, 50 years, 100 years, 150 years. That time frame is extremely short in the grand scheme of how life has evolved on the planet. So, in that sense, it is drastic, it is extremely drastic. In fact, drastic is a major understatement. I mean, we are doing something which is unheard of in the evolution of the planet. We are doing something in a very rapid time frame, very significantly altering the environment. We are first of all putting out a whole bunch of things into the environment, and we are also affecting the plant life which can control it by cutting down that plant life. So, we are actually hurting ourselves twofold. So, that is a very difficult situation for any system which has evolved over such a long period of time to handle, and in fact chances are the repercussions will actually have to be dealt with by us ourselves. So, this is something that I wanted to highlight. So, the time frame is what I wanted to highlight with this slide. So, I hope that is something that is now will stay with you, that we are really doing all this in the space of about 150 years. Okay, so now I said I will talk a little bit about this price of oil. Okay, so we have this interesting price here. If you look at what has been going on in the say the last few years, last 3-4 years for example, the price of oil has been fluctuating. Okay, so right now it is somewhere between 50 and 100 US dollars per barrel, and that has been fluctuating as the year goes by. It seems to climb up or climb down or go down, and so that has been on. Right. So, as I told you, there is a lot of political reasons for this, and you have to ask yourself how do they arrive at this price. Okay. So, first of all, how do they arrive at this price? So, when they arrive at this price, there are various factors that are involved. At an economic level, there is a basic issue of demand and supply. So, all of us around the world are utilizing energy. So, we place some amount of demand, saying this much amount of oil that we need, this much amount of all the countries in the world, all the people in the world, all the industries in the world require energy, and so we are all asking for energy. So, there is some demand. Then there is the supply side. Supply side consists of all those countries which have oil wells and all those industries which have oil wells which generate the oil. Now, if you flood the market with plenty of oil, generally the economic view of the situation is that the price of the oil will drop, because you have plenty of oil available in the market relative to the demand. So, as I mentioned, there is a lot of political posturing and geopolitics involved here in terms of how you will control the oil and why will you control the oil. Okay, so why will you control the price of oil, and how will you go about doing it? So, the why is actually basically profit. So, there are two reasons here. There is profit and there is politics. So, the profit part of it is that any country which is dependent exclusively on oil. So, typically let us say many Middle Eastern countries are dependent on oil as their primary source of income. Naturally, they would like to have better income, and so therefore, they feel that if you reduce the production of oil, the price of oil will go up. So, for the same barrel of oil, you actually make more profit. So, that is the logic that they would use, and it also means that they can use this oil for a longer period of time. They can keep selling oil for a longer period of time, because oil is there as a limited resource. It is there in the underground, but they have some limitation on how much oil is available there. So, you can extend this profitable period. You can continue to get more and more profit for a longer period of time. So, therefore, for countries which are dependent on oil as the primary source of income, it makes sense to do things to keep the price of oil up. Okay. Then there are other countries which may have various political reasons why everyone would like to have more profit for their oil, but there may be a lot of political reasons why having a slightly lower price of oil may make a difference. So, there may be situations where some country feels that if I keep the price of the oil low, then countries that depend on oil for profit will get less profit, right, and therefore their ability to influence international behavior decreases, because they are not getting enough profit, they are not able to put their economic might to control world opinion. So, there is a lot of aspects in the background which are not really associated with the petrol that you put into your vehicle, which are affecting the price of the petrol that you are putting into your vehicle. Okay. So, this is all going on in the background. So, currently it is somewhere between 50 and 100 US dollars a barrel, and it is fluctuating all the time. Every day the price goes up or comes down, and then based on over and above this, you have some taxation in your country, various policies, economic policies in the country, that finally this basic price plus those policies together constitute the price that you pay when you go to a petrol station and then fill up petrol or diesel in your vehicle. So, this is the thing going on in the background. In over and above this political aspect associated with this pricing, there is also the basic aspect associated with the industry that does the oil drilling. So, there is going to be cost associated with the all the hardware that has been put together at that location, cost for that land, cost for that hardware, cost in the pricing, the salaries that they pay all those engineers when they come there to be at that site, do the drilling, work with all the staff that are working at that oil rig or oil platform, and then generate that oil. So, there is a lot of actual salaries that are paid, maintenance cost, hardware cost, infrastructure cost, all that associated with this installation which is generating this oil, which picks up the oil from the ground. And then there is also the refining costs of converting, going through this process by which this oil gets crude oil is then split into various fractions, and then it is shipped to various locations. So, there is a shipping cost also associated. So, all these other costs that I just mentioned here effectively form like the base price. So, at least these costs have to be covered, otherwise no industry is actually even going to get into this business. So, first of all these costs have to be covered, that is the infrastructure cost, the people cost, the transportation cost and all of that. And then over and above that you have all these political decisions which affect the amount of profit that you will get on this oil, and any other taxation which decides the price of oil on your as you go to the petrol station. So, it is a complicated, several factors are involved is the point that I wish to convey in the arriving at this price of 50 to 100 US dollars per barrel, which seems to be the range over which the price is fluctuating as of now. Okay. But there are some other parameters that I would like to draw your attention to. So, that we will see here. So, when you look at this 50 to 100 US dollars per barrel, just please keep that in mind, we will come to that in a moment. Let us take a step back and see how did we arrive at this oil. Okay, this crude oil that they just dig up and pull off the ground, how did we arrive at this oil? And to understand that, you just have to see these sort of the layers of what are there on the earth, at least within the scope of our discussion. There is the sea, then there is mud below the sea, and usually what has happened is that at least with respect to this oil production, over millions of years ago, over the last several millions of years, plants, dead plants and animals, plants that lived out their life and then basically died, some of them or several of them slowly got buried, and they went into the sea, they got buried, they settled down at the base of the sea, and then they got buried with sand over that particular region. And so, when I say millions of years ago, it could even be you could basically even be talking of the dinosaurs or any of those animals that have lived in the last tens of millions of years that have gotten buried and then got covered with mud. Then due to the pressure of the sea, a lot of that mud has over a period of time turned into rock. Okay. So, this is basically generally what has happened over millions of years, tens of millions of years, this has gradually happened. So, you had natural life that died and then got buried at various locations, several of them got buried under the sea, and then there was sand that covered them, and that sand again over millions of years under the pressure of the sea and the conditions that they are under slowly turned into rock. That put even more pressure on the content that was beneath it, the decaying content that was underneath it, which was all these dead plants and animals. So, there was this layer of dead plants and animals covered by mud that then turned into rock, and below that was the seabed. So, this is sort of the set of layers that are of interest for us in this discussion. Okay. So, this is how you have the sea, you have the mud that turned into rock, the dead plants and animals that got buried below that mud before it turned into rock, and then the seabed. And under these conditions, where there was heat, there was pressure, and there was absence of oxygen, heat, pressure and absence of oxygen, and time, which is what? Millions of years. Heat, pressure, absence of oxygen and millions of years. This is what was the conditions were the set of conditions that these dead plants and animals were subject to. Okay. So, heat, pressure, absence of oxygen, and a time frame of millions of years under which these materials were subject to these conditions. Under those conditions, this combination of conditions, gradually these dead plants and animals got converted to what we are now looking at as crude oil. Okay. So, this is a very slow elaborate process that has taken millions of years with huge number of dead plants and animals which died millions of years ago, tens of millions of years ago, right. So, actually when you go to the fuel station, petrol station, and you pour petrol into your car, it is very likely that you are actually pouring something that is a dead dinosaur, right. So, you could be I mean you may not have thought of it that way, but some dinosaur and some other creatures which died long ago became that petrol, which is what you are actually pouring into your vehicle. Okay. So, you do not realize it, you just see one somewhat clearish looking liquid, some faint coloration in it just going into your vehicle. but that is the origin, right. So, the question we have to ask ourselves is that when you come up with this price of 50 to 100 US dollars per barrel, where is the price for all of this? Where is the pricing? Where in this 50 to 100 dollars, 100 US dollars per barrel did you account for all of this? If you ask this question, you find that the answer is nobody ever accounted for this, right. So, in some ways what we are doing when we come up with this kind of a pricing of 50 to 100 US dollars per barrel, we are neglecting lot of fundamental aspects here. I mean, imagine this: heat, pressure, absence of oxygen in millions of years. Where is the pricing for this? Supposing you take out, I mean, right now we are simply looking at the cost for digging it up and pulling it out. I mean, that is a very highly unreasonable way of looking at the cost of something. So, any resource that when we put a price to that resource, we have to ask ourselves, maybe from economic parameters concept, you can come up with a price for it. You have to really ask yourself, as a society we have to ask ourselves if that is the right way to price something, if that is the only aspect that you should look at when you price something, right. So, now the other way to look at it is, supposing we consume all the petrol, right, we completely consume all the petrol, all the diesel and whatever, all the crude oil we completely consume. What is the cost that will be involved in recreating that resource? Where is that cost? Where is that cost in any of the pricing that we put? It turns out that strangely we do not seem to be interested in it, or we have not even paid any attention to it, and therefore this factor completely does not appear in our costing. There is no price for the dinosaur that died to get you your barrel of oil. There is absolutely no price. It is priceless, and we have certainly not included it here. We have treated it as priceless, and therefore we have treated it as, whoever has priced it has actually put a price of 0 on it, and therefore you are looking at 50 to 100 dollars per barrel. The point being that human beings sometimes do strange things. In fact, maybe all the time we are doing strange things, and at least to me it appears that when we price things, resources of this nature, which are very unique resources, which are not going to just show up from somewhere. Now, if you look at rain, okay, rain flows down, it comes down, it goes as a river, it goes into the sea, again there is evaporation, you get back rain. So, this is a cycle that is going on all the time, right. Oil is not like that. It is not like you burn the oil and it will rain back oil at you when you can just pick it up from a pond. It does not work that way. Once you burn it, it is gone. It is not renewable, and that is the whole point in calling it not renewable. It is gone. Once you finish it, it is gone. So, how many ever barrels of oil you generate, once you burn them all, they are all gone. So, they are gone for good, and therefore it does not make sense that you are not even accounting for what it will take to bring back that barrel of oil, and unfortunately in today's pricing that is what we do. And in fact, there are other things that we do. So that is something that is one point that we should keep in mind, and also you should also remember that there is a lot of technology involved in getting this barrel of oil, and in fact the pricing looks at those things. So it does not really look at all of this fundamental philosophy. So for example, they have been looking at ways of they drill oil from a well, and they just consume all the oil in that well using the existing technology, and then they abandon that well, saying we can no longer get oil out of this well. But increasingly they have now found new ways to look at old wells and actually extract some more oil out of those wells. So that is the direction in which we have moved. We have tried to see, we have taken a resource, we have exhausted it, can we extract a little bit more? So that is the sort of the approach we have taken. That is the approach of much of the industrial society towards the resources, and that is the approach we have taken. What we have missed is this idea that if we have to replace that resource, that is essentially impossible in our time scale unless we figure out some other way of dealing with this. Okay. So that is something I wanted to draw your attention to. Okay. So one was the time scale of our usage of this resource, these conventional sources of energy. So that was the first part of what we were discussing in the class. The second part that we discussed is the pricing of this resource. So the timing is one thing, the pricing was the other thing. And the third part that I just wanted to highlight as part of this class is the impact on the environment. Okay. So we did this as a separate calculation in our earlier class, and so I will not go into the full calculation, that calculation we just went over. But the point I wanted to highlight, which is the conclusion of that class, was that we are through this usage of this conventional source of energy, this non-renewable source of energy that we are doing, which we are doing extensively in the last 150 years, this usage of this conventional source of energy. Due to that, we are significantly changing the composition of the environment. So, that is, as we saw in our calculation, in a time frame of 100 years or much less even, based on our demand, supply and our usage of energy, we can change the composition of carbon dioxide by a factor of 2. So, you can double the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. It is a small percentage, but you have to remember that the overall system has reached some equilibrium with that percentage, right. So, the many things are happening in the ecosystem, and everything from how much sunlight is penetrating through the dust that reaches our ground, how much of it gets trapped in the environment. Lot of things are happening, how much rain is produced, how much drought is there, many things are all intricately related, and they are all happening with based on what is there in the atmosphere. So, when you take that delicate system and then you take one component of the delicate system and suddenly double it in a time frame of about 100 years, which is laughably small in the time frame of existence of life on the planet, that kind of time scale, when you suddenly do it, you are doing something dangerous, potentially dangerous. I mean, it may be that it means nothing, but in this case every evidence suggests that we are doing something potentially dangerous, right. So, we are changing the composition of the environment quite significantly in a very small period of time, which is of the order of 100 years. So, this is something that was the third point that I thought I should draw your attention to in the context of the use of conventional sources of energy, right. So, now let us look at this image here. I have picked up this data, this is the source of this data here. And I have taken the data and replotted it. This data is the original data is available at that site, and we can just take a look at what are we doing with respect to energy. So, the point of this slide, which is what I would like to highlight as I discuss this slide, is that if you look at research today in the field of energy, there is a lot of interest in doing non-conventional sources of energy, to create non-conventional sources of energy, to nurture them and to actually deploy them, non-conventional sources of energy or renewable sources of energy. So, you hear a lot about it, you read a lot about it, there are so many articles in magazines and newspapers, on the internet, messages forwarded to you on social media, etc. So much of discussion of this topic. So that is good, I mean it is a nice direction to go in. But it is also of interest to actually take a pause at this moment and see where is it that we are right now, what is our situation as of today. So, okay. So, if you look at it that from that perspective, you see a situation which is not very flattering, and definitely a situation that is gives us a lot of reason for concern. So, you look at what is the current energy usage, and more specifically what source of energy we are using to handle our existing demand for energy. If you look at it that way, oil is about 33%. So, that would be something like petrol, diesel, etc. Those kinds of things provides 33% of the energy that we use, or rather the energy that we use, 33% of it is in this form. So, all the transportation that we do, any other industrial machine we are running which is running off of diesel or something like that, all that is essentially consuming about amounting to 33% of energy that we use as a society. Coal is another 30%, okay, that is very significant. Coal is 30%. Coal is actually many thermal power plants internationally, certainly many thermal power plants in India are all running based on coal. So, coal is extensively being used in thermal power plants, and so that is why you see this 30% of coal, and that generates electricity, and that electricity we are using in our house, in our homes. Then there is natural gas, that amounts to 24%, used for various purposes. Actually, if you look at European countries, there is a significant need for heating in their homes. Okay, so we use this for cooking, we use this for heating, and so on, natural gas, even for some automotive applications, but significant usage in it is cold countries where they need heat. They have moved away from putting logs of wood and lighting a fire, so that is not really the way it is done, but they do have heaters in their home which are often based on this natural gas which is being piped into their homes. So, in many European countries, unlike maybe other countries, developing world, certainly in India and all, you get the cylinder of gas which gets delivered to your house. In Europe and also in many places in the United States, for example, gas is piped to the house. So, there is a pipe that brings gas to your house, and there is a meter. So, just like water is piped to your house, you get gas in a pipe, and then it is metered based on your usage. And one of the applications it is used for is household heating. So, so in terms of from the perspective of household heating, from cooking requirements, and also some element of transportation requirements, you get fair amount of usage of natural gas, and it is about 24% of the energy demand that we have is being met using natural gas. So, so if you see here, these three that you see here, which is oil, you see coal, and you see natural gas. So, between the three of them, these are all sort of based on hydrocarbons, based on something that you are getting off the ground in terms of crude oil or something, or some modification of crude oil or some refinement of crude oil, etc. These three are sort of coming from at least in general from that source. You are looking at a total of 87%. Okay, so 33%, so this is 63 and 87. You add three of them, you will get 87. So 87% of our energy needs is essentially being met using fossil fuels. The fuel that we get from all those dead animals that got buried a long time ago, which are the fossils, and then and so therefore we call them fossil fuels. 87% of our energy needs today, as of today, as we approach the year 2020, 87% of our energy need is being met using fossil fuels. Now look at everything else. We talk of hydroelectricity. There is so much of controversy even with respect to hydroelectricity, because you need to build dams, and today the thought process is that an environmentally friendly way to build a dam is to actually build micro dams, small dams along the flow of the river, rather than to build one massive dam. So there are huge dams in say in China, in India, in many other countries, and there's a lot of people who oppose the construction of those dams, because it seems to have a major impact on the on a wide range of things close to the dam, in terms of what it has done to the vegetation there, what it has done to the people there, etc. So there seem to be a lot of resistance to such large dams, but there is also some other aspects such as the urgent need for energy, which seems to require the construction of these dams. And there is also of course some sense of prestige associated with it, maybe a false sense of prestige, but in any case there are these again complex issues associated with hydroelectricity, but hydroelectricity is a part of our source of energy, and we do use it. But you see here that for all the talk that it appears in our news, that amounts to 7%. 7% of our energy supply comes from hydel sources, from dams that we built. Nuclear energy, again a very controversial topic, because it is in some sense clean, because there is no carbon dioxide coming out of it, but in some sense extremely polluting, because even if you have tiny amounts of radioactive waste, which have even low grade radioactive waste, it is something that can damage a region, and the damage stays for a very long time. We are looking at several thousands of years before that radiation there will drop to a level that is safe. So nuclear energy has various other aspects associated with it, which people are not comfortable with, and as of today that amounts to 4% of the supply of energy to our for our daily usage. So 4% is covered there. Through nuclear energy, there are nuclear power plants in various places in the world, and there is a lot of opposition even to the construction of nuclear power plants. So if you now remove all of these, you remove the oil, the coal, the natural gas, the hydroelectricity, and the nuclear power generation, if you set aside all of these, you are left with 2%. Okay. So that is a very small number. 2% of the energy that is being used in the world today comes from other sources. Okay. So what are these other sources? Those are these renewable energy sources or non-conventional sources of energy. These could be a variety of sources such as wind, many other sources. We will discuss them in greater detail as we go through solar power, wind power, etc. But as of today, that provides only 2% of the energy that is being used in our society, right. So therefore, there is both reason for concern, and there is a reason to have very nice expectations out of this situation, because it means that there is a huge scope for growth. There is huge scope for growth of this technology, and to the extent that we invest in these technologies, to the extent that we invest in the development of these technologies, we have a scope for greatly impacting the entire energy usage scenario and the impact of that usage on the environment. So there is great scope for that. So that is the good news that we have. but the reason that we need to be concerned is that we are only doing 2% as of now. So we have to do something urgently to increase the amount of non-conventional energy usage in our lives, so that we can gradually move away from this situation where 87% of our energy is coming in a manner that is extremely harmful to the environment. 87% is coming from fossil fuels. We are just dumping a whole amount of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and that is just not the right way to do things. We have enough knowledge that we should do better than this. That is the bottom line. We can always argue about what is the convenient things to do, but we have enough knowledge and enough capability that we should find a better way to handle our lifestyles, to handle our energy needs. So that is the point I wanted to make here. So I will close with this slide. That is the point that we should also keep in mind. The other major reason that we have to be concerned about is the fact that the development of societies, which is often measured using GDP, it turns out seems to be very closely related to energy consumption. So generally, and it makes sense, because you say a place is developed, it means there are a lot of industries there, there are a lot of companies there, etc. And all those industries and companies therefore naturally consume a lot of energy. So now if you step back and just take the amount of energy and how the place is economically developed, naturally they are linked. So this puts a lot of political pressure to against controlling the use of energy. So if you go about saying don't use so much energy, there is a lot of political pressure to resist that idea, because it means when you stop using energy, you are affecting the jobs and livelihoods of people. So it is all the more urgent that we find renewable sources of energy and clean sources of energy to satisfy our energy requirements, so that we do not affect the GDP, we do not affect the livelihoods of people, and we get good political backing to actually deploy these technologies and allow people to live good lifestyles, happy lifestyles, comfortable lifestyles, but also do it in a clean manner. So this is something that we need to look at, and therefore it is very important for us to find cleaner sources of energy to save ourselves. More than anything else, to save ourselves, we need it. We cannot really be in a a sense of denial, saying nothing is wrong, nothing is wrong, nothing is wrong. There is something wrong, we really need to do something about it, and we have an opportunity to do it, and therefore it is nice to try to do it. Okay. So with this I would like to conclude this class. I hope you have now got a sense of what are these conventional sources of energy, what kind of time frame we have been using them, what kind of impact it has, and what are various aspects associated with this use of conventional sources of energy. Thank you.